It's New Brew Thursday. Woo! And it's the second homebrew competition show.
Round 2,
Yep,
bitches.
we've made it to round 2. So if you're trying to submit for the May 15th deadline, you're
You
kind of
fail
out
at
of
life.
it. Yeah,
Kind of missed it at this point.
it has come and gone. Today is the end of May. I don't know what day it is today, but yeah,
20-something.
20-something. But we're here with Andrew Bell, who is one of the winners of this round's competition. He brewed a Imperial Black Rye IPA, right?
Yep.
So we'll be getting to that last, but he makes excellent beer.
You're from Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, Westwood area.
Santa Monica, Westwood
West
area,
LA.
okay. And you have the worst Twitter handle ever.
Yeah.
So
No
I
one
had
can
to bring that
remember
up because
No one can remember it. It's fine.
well, it's funny because I think I've run into you at different festivals here and there, and then I think we followed each other on Twitter for a while, and then one day it dawned on me that you were the same person that I had been running into. And I'm like,
the same thing happened to me because I think I first met you at Bootleggers.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
Yeah. a while ago.
I think it was the first time we actually went there. You were there, and we
about
talked for a little bit, and then I saw you here and there, and we were at Okonox, I think is when you gave your bottles to us.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I left, and I'm like, oh, it's that guy. And then so when I got home, I'm like, I followed you, and I'm like, dude, I totally didn't know that was you.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. So I don't think he's not going for marketing with his name.
Yeah, clearly. So, but
the beer
maybe
speak for
it should be
itself.
flashing all over the screen through the entire episode, just so everybody knows.
You will learn this name.
Yes,
Sear it
forever.
into your brain.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be starting off with Ross McCumber's beer.
Ross McCumber.
Right?
Summer.
Is that right?
I don't know. Is it?
I forgot all my notes at home. This is the Endless Summer
Pineapple
wheat ale, and it's a session beer, so it comes in at 4 point something ABV. And
Oh, that's
Recommended pairing is watching the movie at the same time.
exactly.
Yeah, I've been a fan of the wheat beers lately. I think the last 3 beers I've made have been wheat beers, and I don't know why. I got off on this kick with that Homebrew Academy blog thing, and I was like, oh, I like wheat beers now. So.
Yeah, I like this one because you get a lot of the pineapple on the nose.
Yeah.
And which I think is really interesting, and I think that when you're going with a beer that is, and this isn't an IPA, it's a wheat ale, so you're not going to get the hop nose, but a lot of the citrusy IPAs. And by the way, cheers to homebrewing.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
A lot of the citrusy IPAs, I prefer the citrus on the nose and the bitter on the taste.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than getting a big hop forward nose and then getting some citrusy, because then it's I'm going to have a fruit beer with hops in it,
Yeah.
But when you have the pineapple on the nose, it just really makes it an interesting drink.
You do get it on the taste, though. It's subtly...
And it's not like canned pineapple or anything like that. It tastes pretty fresh.
Yeah, he
It's
used
nice
real
and vibrant.
pineapple.
Yeah. Because there's such a big difference in flavor, I feel, between canned pineapple and real, and I can't stand
Well, you're going to get a lot more
canned pineapple.
sugary sweetness off of it. That
Just flavor-wise,
yeah.
though, I can't stand canned pineapple, but real pineapple is amazing, and this shows it pretty well.
This is really pleasant to drink. It's light, and the wheat malt in there really adds to the body of it.
And the pineapple, the sort of citric acid, adds a whole new level and makes it kind of refreshing at the end, maybe even crisp.
Yeah. And I think that the first time we drank this, I felt my initial reaction on it was I felt the hops were a little bit too big for it. On the back end, there was a little too much bitterness, but I'm not really getting that on this bottle. So maybe it might have just been the bottle that we had originally, but this is really I could just see sitting out on my back porch and nice hot summer day and just going through a case of that.
It's a good beer. It's a solid beer. I mean, for a fruit beer,
Wait for the weather to heat up.
Yeah, it's good. I dig it.
So if you have a case, Ross, you know my address.
If that is your
just
name.
saying.
Because Steve forgot his notes.
No, I know it's okay. It's because it's either Ross is the first one or the second one. Oh, his name's not on this one. This is Avant-Garde Brewing. Anyway, I am full of fail.
Yes, you are.
Sorry, but yeah, this was a phenomenal beer, Ross. And I know Ross's initial concern was would he win if he sent in a session beer.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, because I think we live in the world now, in the craft beer world, where everybody's like, oh, if it doesn't have 15% alcohol and it's not aged in 30 different bourbon barrels, it's not a good beer. And you know what? I personally want people to be brewing session beers. It's summertime. It's time, I do not want to drink an 18% Imperial Russian Stout on a 95-degree day while I'm outside.
I did that
In
yesterday
Scotch
right
barrel
after I
size.
finished cleaning up brewing, and I was like, why did I open this? This is a bad idea. This is not like refreshing at all. So
I completely
Yeah,
agree.
so Ross, congratulations. I believe it's Ross the Fireman on Twitter. So, and if I'm wrong on that, then sorry.
he's still full of fail.
Yeah, full of fail. But it's all coming back to me slowly and slowly.
We're
and
gonna
slowly.
rinse these glasses and move on to the next. Or should we? I mean, because the next one's a double IPA.
The next is, yeah, we can just go right into it.
Let's just go into it.
So while we're opening this, Andrew, tell us a little bit about your adventures next weekend.
Next weekend.
Yes.
BJCP.
Yeah, I will sadly not be attending the brewery 3rd anniversary, which seems to be becoming a thing for me. I missed the first one too, being in Texas, but I'm actually taking the BJCP exam instead.
Oh.
So that's why I'm missing it.
So we have a somewhat
We have an expert.
someone knows what they're talking about.
I'm not the certified expert.
I'm not
Well,
going
you're
to
close
choose.
enough.
I'm going to
Okay.
choose not to take that personally. What John just said.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
So this beer is from Matthew Hughes, and it could be Michael Hughes, but I'm going to say it's Matthew.
God. This is not making us look good as beer judges. We're like,
Well,
I think
no,
this
Well, you're not supposed to know the name if you're
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
a beer judge.
okay, yeah.
You just know the
So
entry.
I just remember going through the list of names when I matched them up with the beers, and it was like, okay, blah 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 blah. But I think it's Matthew Hughes, and I don't think he's ever been on Twitter that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah.
would not
So
It's not a requirement.
no, it's a requirement, Matthew. Get on Twitter. Do it.
Or Mike.
Or Mike. No, it's Matthew because we're Facebook friends, I think.
Ah, there you go.
But anyway, this is a Tres Doble IPA, and I really liked the. It uses Chinook and it uses
Cascade.
yeah, on 3 ways. The bittering. And we were talking a little bit about Chinook earlier, and you know we referred to it as the throat raping hop.
It's really high in cohumulone, so it can really be aggressive on the back of the throat, especially when you use it for bittering. But
I think he did a good job with it. Yeah, he did a
I'm
good
not
job
getting
with
the
it with this
huge
one.
aggressive bite of Chinook hops in this. So the
And
flavor's nice.
And this bottle's a couple of weeks old, but it's really maintained well. It's kept a nice hop profile to it. I know
Would it be bizarre if I taste a little chocolatiness on this?
There's sort of a biscuity, bready character to the malt, nearly a chocolatey.
kind of.
Bit,
It's
yeah.
just something that's a little sweet and I didn't expect.
Yeah, the
from
malt
it.
the malt profile's a little big, and if it's a couple weeks old, you know, the hops fade
Yeah.
and the malt is what's left
Right,
behind.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's stood up pretty well, I think, with the hops. But it was when we judged this, it was a lot beefier on the hop profile than it was on the malts. I mean, the malts have come out a little bit more on this.
hops fade quick, man.
Yeah.
It's really kind of balanced too. I know the hops have faded or whatever, but there's nothing about that. I'm not fighting it when I'm drinking it.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
it's just a good drinking beer.
Creamy mouthfeel,
Yeah.
nice solid malt profile. Makes you want to take another sip.
Well, I think originally when we drank this, even though the hop profile was bigger, it still did have a balanced profile to it. It wasn't something like when we drank it, it wasn't like, oh hey hops. It was just like, oh, it had a nice aroma to it. It has a nice flavor profile to it. So I mean, this is a really good beer. When you get into the doubles and triple categories with IPAs, I think it does. You do have to drink them a lot more fresher, just because of the fact that
Obviously,
the malts are going to be so much bigger on them and be more aggressive coming out.
Yeah.
You really do get the cascade on the flavor of this, though. They're nice, orangey,
Yeah.
citrusy, fruity flavor. Yeah, I can see the nose being a little bit on the older side, but
Yeah.
I'm so impressed by any brewery that actually bottles their IPA. If I actually had my own brewery, even if it's big, I would be so nervous about bottling an IPA or double IPA.
Just because.
Just freshness issues. I'd just
Yeah.
keg everything and be.
Well, I know, like,
I know Vinny's super
Anal
intense.
about
But
that,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. He requires that's why Bevmo doesn't carry,
right, because they
PTE.
refuse to provide
refrigeration,
shelf
yeah,
space.
which
Yeah.
I understand. I mean, and you still see
So,
some
yeah,
old
you-
PTE, but I mean,
The funny thing is, though, is I go into a lot of places and I see PTE on the shelf, not in refrigerated, and it's like, and I'm thinking to myself, man, if Vinny walked in here, he'd be like smacking.
I think
me.
I remember him like actually telling people to try and send an email to the brewery if they saw that, and I've done that on one occasion. actually send an email,
Yeah.
sort of tattletaling.
Some of my places I like though, and it's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't want to get them in trouble.
Yeah, no, don't want to get him in trouble. But I mean, even Bevmo, who doesn't carry PTE anymore, still has damnation, consecration, all that.
Right.
So.
I often wonder on like beer review blogs where they're getting double IPAs for a review, but it was released 6 months ago. It's like, how can you review that? Like, it's not what it should be.
I mean, if the brewery's sending it to you, it's one thing, but
And
if you're just going
half
out
the
to
time
the shelf and like picking it up, I mean, it's
ultimately, as far as craft beer goes, whether it's homebrew or it's a craft brew, you have to respect the wishes of the brewer. Period. And I mean, we got some homebrew entries that were like, please drink this as soon as possible, and we try to do our judging at the same time. But if we get that, then we're gonna pop that night and open it and drink it. Because we're not gonna be like, no, sorry, we're doing the homebrew judging in 2 weeks, so you just get to sit in the fridge for 2 weeks. We're gonna respect the wishes of the brewer, and I think that goes for any beer, personally. Mm-hmm. Next, we're going over to Jamey from Barlow Brewing.
Awesome blog, by the way.
Yes, does a good blog.
Whoop.
and we nearly lost.
Very
Andrew.
slippery glasses or bottles.
Gusher.
Whoop.
Hello.
Sorry, no finger in the beer.
John washes his fingers regularly, so don't worry about that.
No, he doesn't wash them; he sanitizes them.
Exactly. If you ever brew with John, you're required to wear a full body condom. Just saying.
No holes.
No homo. So this is a Belgian Tripel. It's called Tripel Lindy. And I really like this beer. I love Belgian Tripels. It's one of my favorite styles. It was a style that you took a while to get into.
Yeah, but I'm into it.
I know a couple people who are just like that.
I was just not a fan of Belgians at
Period.
first. No, I just
The people or the beer?
I don't think I've ever met a Belgian person.
Really?
No.
All right. We'll have to
I
work
don't-
on
They're
that.
generally pretty nice people.
I would assume so. Yeah. But yeah, now I'm
But I was impressed by this because there's Belgian triples especially have a very distinctive nose, and it's one that like it takes a little getting used to. I think the first time I smelled a Belgian triple, I was like, oh, it smells like skunk or it smells like this. And then when I got kind of past that, because it doesn't smell like any of those things, it actually has a nice little sweetness to it. And the very first triple I had was triple Carmelet.
Mm-hmm, which was in a green bottle.
Yeah, and so that's where I'm getting the skunky kind of
Green bottle syndrome.
yeah. But then I had a West Mall triple, and it was like the heavens opened up, light shone upon my head, and it was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
That's the classic triple.
Yeah.
So,
And so when I opened this and we drank it the first time, I kind of had that same moment with this beer. Like I really loved the nose on it. I thought it just really hit that Belgian triple nose perfectly. So
yeah, it's nice and
one of the
estery,
things.
lightly phenolic. It gets all the yeast character out there, and then there's that slight malty sweetness, but you don't really get that much in the taste. You get a fruitiness, and then it finishes
Right.
dry. So yeah, it's well done.
Yeah, I really like the way this
And I know
smells.
Jamey is like, he's one of those dudes, like if you're looking to start homebrewing and you want somebody who can break stuff down to you really easily, that's easily understandable, check out Barlow Brewing's website because he does a really good job of completely logging everything he does
Yeah,
for a
he
brew.
is anal. Yeah.
So very impressive. He's somebody I'd really like to meet one day in person.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, great beer. Big fan.
Alcohol's there, but it's nice.
very nicely balanced, yeah.
I do sometimes like beers with a tinge of alcohol, and some people say Belgians are supposed to completely hide the alcohol, and I disagree. Alcohol does add a complexity to the flavor, and I like it.
Yeah, if you can get a little bit of the fusel on the back end to kind of balance out the sweetness of it,
Not
it
too
really
much.
works.
Not
Yeah.
too much, but
Yeah, just a bit.
it
just
can
a
be a
hint.
balancing
Yeah.
act.
So I mean, and I think he does a good job with it here because you do get just a slight little bit of heat, but nothing that's like instantly noticeable on the
You
palate.
get a little bit of heat off the nose too. Some of that what is that? A fusel smell you get, or
yeah, higher alcohol.
it's just
fusel.
kind of in the back. It's a little bit of a burn, but
Yeah.
it smells
A
very.
tinge.
Yeah, it smells really soft and it's got
Biting.
that classic smell. I think
Right.
it's very well done. Now we're gonna rinse.
Yes, now we're gonna rinse because we're gonna drink this, and we don't want to drink this.
This is a Belgian Tripel IPA rye thing.
It is none of those things.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Imperial.
I'm like, what? It is none of those things.
Ryan IPA maybe.
Yeah, exactly. This is a black IPA with rye in
Yes.
it.
No Belgians in
And
this beer.
if you follow us on Twitter, during the homebrew judging competition, you would have noticed, or during the homebrew judging, you would have noticed a Twitter go out from us saying that this was a perfect 5. And we did get a little bit of blowback from that from people. Yes, I know that perfect beers are not possible, blah, blah, blah. We're not judging on a 50-point scale, so you know what?
We're judging on the New Brew Thursday scale.
Exactly. And we were both blown away by this beer. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. The dude that brewed it is standing right here. Awkward. So anyway, we're going to rinse our glasses, we're going to drink it, and then we're going to have like a total love fest with Andrew. It'll be amazing. Now we're going to be trying the Black Rye IPA from Andrew Bell.
OMG.
Andrew, tell us about this beer before I open it.
Alrighty, so the name of this beer is actually Camp Brian, and that's because it was brewed sort of from the idea given by Brian Lenzo, the owner of Blue Palms. He had recently he was invited to the Sierra Nevada Beer Camp with Serene and Dave up at Ladyface Brewing Company. Great brew pub, you should go to it. There's a little shout out. But I remember talking to him right before he went up at the brewery, and he was like, I have this great idea for this. We're going to do an Imperial Black Rye IPA with Nelson Sauvin hops. It's going to be awesome. I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. So he comes back and he's like, yeah, no, we didn't end up doing that. Like, there's a problem getting the hops or something like that. So it's like they ended up brewing a good beer, Out of Town Brown, randled through, I believe is Applewood, or not randled, torpedoed through Applewood. So it was a pretty good beer.
What's the difference?
What's a torpedo?
Torpedo's the thing that Sierra Nevada uses. They shoot. It's basically normally it's a hop filter that they shoot their.
Oh, hence
hops.
the name torpedo.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
But instead of filling it with hops, they filled it with cherry wood.
Ding! That's a light bulb going on
That's
above my
pretty
head.
cool.
So-
Cherry wood.
Yeah, so he didn't. He seemed kind of bummed out about doing it. I'm like, oh man, I'll create a recipe for it and brew it for you. So I did, and this is the result.
Well, guess what? It was freaking awesome, dude.
That's
I
great.
appreciate it. Yeah, it's about probably at least 2 months in bottle at this point, so it's on the older side, but I had a bottle the other night, so hopefully it should be good.
Uh-oh. Money shot.
No, that's perfect.
All right.
It was good retention,
Well,
so
yeah,
it'll be around
it's
for a
keeping
while.
its head retention, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh,
Oh, hey, now that's going to happen. Ooh,
Oh,
nice
nice
save.
That
Booyah.
was good.
All right, that is an accomplished beer drinker right there.
Yeah.
I think what
That was
really...
some dexterity. You need to do that in slow motion.
I think what really hit me about this beer was the way the rye interplayed with the IPA, the black IPA quality of the beer. Like, first of all, Nelson is a phenomenal hop anyway. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
I
gonna,
absolutely
and I
love
think
it.
last month, if you remember, Craig T. Nelson was one of the beers that won, which was a single mash, single hop beer made with all Nelson Sauvin.
single malt, single hop.
What did I say? Single mash.
Mash.
I always say that.
That's,
It's 'cause I like the-
that's
it's 'cause I like
acronym.
the
That's
show, yeah.
acronym. So
Oh, is it single mash? Or
Well,
single malt.
Smash.
yeah, it's single malt and single hop.
Oh,
Yeah,
but you went
that's the
single
smash.
mash.
Yeah. So, but
Whatever.
it's really because I just like the TV show. Anyway, but I think that the aside from like this would have been a great black IPA just on that merit alone. But when you add the rye in, it gave it this nice like roasty, toasty quality to it, where it's almost like if you've had toasted rye bread before, you get so much of that flavor profile right across the mid palate that it's like, oh, that's awesome, and it just blended so well with it. I kind of instantly fell in love with this beer.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I feel actually the rye in this, I don't know why, but it's sort of a good interplay between the roast of the malt and it adds a little spiciness, and it also ties in the hops. It sort of accentuates the bitterness and adds a little bit of spicy.
I was going to
flavor
say the
there.
same thing.
It just
Yeah.
goes right in between.
The
them.
You
rye.
so weren't.
I thought it was. Like the rye, it's like it adds an extra level of bitterness.
It
to
does,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it also helps with the crispness.
Well,
and
because
the
if you've
finish
ever had
of
a
it.
patty melt burger, they put those on traditional patty melt burgers on rye. And one of the nice things about a patty melt, because a patty melt is basically just a Swiss hamburger, a hamburger with Swiss cheese and, you know.
Thousand Island too, normally, is it?
No, God, what kind of hell do you live in that they put Thousand Island in your patty melt? Well, no, you're right.
A good
I
one.
take that back.
A good.
I'm like,
good
oh
one.
yeah, no, you're right. Okay.
What kind of hell do you live in?
Well, because I take the Thousand Island off because I think Thousand Island is actually a creation of the devil. It's devil's sperm. Anyway,
Well, I'm sucking the devil's.
but anyway, when you have a patty melt, one of the interesting qualities of the rye bread, it provides kind of a spiciness to it that you wouldn't get normally, and I think you brought that out in this beer almost like perfectly, and I just was really, really, really impressed with this beer. So.
Yeah, we had nothing bad to say. We had nothing much to say about it, really. It was like we drank it and just like...
Well, I grabbed John's tasting notes and it said, rye, yeah!
Nice.
Yeah,
I
it was
appreciate
good.
it. Yeah.
So...
Yeah, because just so it's kind of like a piece of information for you. When we judge these things...
Disclaimer?
Disclaimer, whatever. We don't really talk
man.
about what we think about the beer while we're judging it. We both kind of do our own thing, and then we compare notes afterwards. And it was interesting for this one because we both of us gave it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
And we're not judging this on the BJCP 50-point scale. We're judging it on a 5-point scale. And there just
the
wasn't
NBT
anything that we
scale.
felt like you could take away from this beer. It wasn't like it was bottled perfectly. It had a great aroma, the taste, the mouthfeel, everything about it just was fantastic. And it was just so easy to be like 5s across the board. And so we were very excited about this beer. So
You were saying there's a little bit of hop resin.
There's a little bit at the bottom.
Well, I just put a
they're
little
just
bit
down there
in,
having a party.
and now I get a little more of the Nelson. in
Yeah.
here. Like the last drink.
If you get the real bit of the end, it will be a little more stringent.
I'm gonna do it.
But I mean,
I'm gonna take the last little bit and do a hop shot.
getting that little more,
Your palate.
getting that little last bit of that Nelson hop in there. It's just like the Nelson and the rye, like they go together perfectly.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, the original time I actually had Nelson was in Alpine's Nelson, which is also a rye. You might as
put
well
rye
say
in that?
double A. Yeah, it's a rye double IPA.
I did not even know that.
Neither did I.
Because I love Nelson. That's a great beer.
I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it has rye in it.
It's just not black. So
Yeah, no, it's not black. It doesn't have the
Racist.
roast. Whoa.
hey,
It doesn't have the roasted qualities as well.
literally-
I won't drink a
yellow.
beer if it ain't black. What?
I don't know about you, Steve.
You love dark beer.
I do.
You're really reaching on that one. So
I reach a lot. I don't reach around.
As I move slightly off
He's
camera.
like, whoa, I was not involved in
That's-
this
that's
beer
fair.
gay porn, so.
that's almost a compliment, though. Because like if you give reach around, it's like
You're at least polite
courteous.
that way. Yeah, you're polite that way. So,
Oh boy.
This went off on a weird tangent.
yes, it did. Anyway, so this was a
So this is a
phenomenal round
courteous
two.
beer. in
This
other
is a
words.
courteous beer. It gives you, it smacks you in the ass with some hops, but it gives you a little reach around with the rye.
I don't think anyone's ever described a beer like that.
Take that to BJCP.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll
Put
take,
that on your BGCP notes.
I'll take that as a compliment.
So anyway, round two was phenomenal. We had a great selection of beers. Everyone that submitted, your beers were great. If you're not on the show, again, it doesn't necessarily reflect poorly on your beer. We tried to send tasting notes out to everybody so that you understood why we did or didn't select your beer. Round three comes to the conclusion in 4 days from the posting of this show. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, I should really brew a beer and send it to New Brew Thursday. Yeah, unless you have a beer sitting on the shelf right now that you can put in a box and overnight to us, probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but we want to thank everyone that submitted beers. We've already got a couple of good submissions for June. Hopefully we'll get a few more. I think June we might have an issue because we only had a couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, it was weird how the schedule worked out.
Right.
But
So,
whatever.
and that's all based on the GABF submission deadlines and whatever. So, we may only have a single winning beer next week.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. See what happens.
You guys want to mention something about the final for the people who are making it forward?
Oh yeah. So if you've won, Andrew, good call. If you've
you.
won and you're looking to submit you're thinking about your organic beer, which actually reminds me, what are you going to be brewing?
I
you
don't know if I want to
decided?
give it away, but I did actually
Okay.
get some
secretive.
ingredients.
It's mysterious.
I got some ingredients, and it won't be dark, but it will be hoppy.
All right.
Very,
Apparently-
very hoppy.
Yeah. Can I say
Excellent.
the dollar amount?
Yeah.
I'll say the dollar amount, but we won't say the batch size. How about that?
Alrighty.
$50, $53 worth of hops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's a lot of
that's
hops.
insane.
Yeah.
So, and he's not a commercial brewer.
No.
So, Anyway, yeah, if you're going to be brewing your organic beer, which you should be doing already, if you're one of the 4 of you here or the ones last month, you should be on top of this already. We're going to have you ship those directly to Bison Brewing because NBT will not be doing the judging for that. Daniel Del Grande and Dr. Bill Sizak will be doing the brewing for those, or for the judging for those brews. Just so you know, we don't pick a dude that lives down the street from us so we can drive him up to Berkeley.
Yeah.
So, but it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a lot of fun. That will be happening.
What?
July
1st, yeah.
Yeah, July 1st.
That's
so
the deadline.
2 days
we'll
before
be
my
up
birthday.
we'll be up in San Francisco July 1st judging home brews. Or actually, we'll be watching them judge home brews, and I'll be drinking them. So post the judging, we're going to be doing the actual commercial version of the beer with the winning home brewer, who will come out at some point in August. And I think we're kind of planning on the middle weekend of August right now, but it's going to kind of depend on whoever wins and what their schedule's like and what Daniel's schedule's like. And so we'll work all that out with the final person. But I think this so far has been just a freaking blast.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the fact that we've gotten a boatload of really good homebrews to drink.
There's a lot of good home brewers out there.
I haven't bought beer in like 2 months. So
Well, we didn't get that.
There we go.
I mean, come on. We either
Benefits.
thought we'd get like 2 bottles or a pallet of beer.
and it kind of ended up somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I think
So-
we got a total of maybe 2 cases, 3 cases of beer.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that realm.
Somewhere in that realm. So,
So-
it was good. And we really appreciate everybody that submitted. And we know we're not like a BJCP national competition. We're just trying to have fun. That's all this really boils down to.
Well, we're
And
trying
so-
to get someone to brew their beer at a commercial brewery and
Yeah.
have it at JBF.
I'd like
you
to
know?
do that.
That's an awesome opportunity.
I was kind of disappointed that I was ineligible to win.
Maybe I have to start a show so you can
I think
enter that.
you
as
know
well.
what? I think right
Both of
now
you can enter.
I'm going to announce that I'm quitting the show. And I'll be submitting for June 1st.
See, I've tasted his brews though.
Damn.
You should probably just stay on
That's
the
some
show.
cold shit right there. That's cold shit. Damn.
And on that note,
Yes. All right. So anyway, all that being said, you know what you should do? You should stay safe and drink beer.
yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Beer, beer, beer. Give me beer, 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 beer. Give me beer. Anyway.
Wow.